Hi everybody, this is a special Quincy Access Television production. Today we're going to conduct a civics class in how to write in a candidate on a ballot. With me today is Emily Lebo, who is a write-in candidate for school committee, and she is going to, we're both going to explain how to do this. It's a process that is difficult if you're not aware of the technicalities of it, but it's easy as pie, as they say, if you pay attention. So Emily, could we start off with you? And
Sure. Thank you for having me on, Paul. It's a pleasure to be here with you and to see if we can get this information out to the voters. As you know, our campaign was only 3.5 weeks long, and we didn't have as much time to get the message out to everybody about what we were doing and why we were doing it, but we're working hard to get it out now. But we really think that this is the most important part, is how to actually fill out the ballot.
correct.
So we could possibly look at what the ballot's going to look like for all voters in Quincy. The ballot itself is set up something like this, with the mayoral race on the top.
Right. You know, if you look at the ballot, you'll see that the mayor's at the top left corner. There are two candidates there. Councilor Large is right underneath it, and you have, I believe, 5 candidates. Then you have your own ward councilor. We're showing Ward 1 right now, where there are 2 candidates and you vote for 1. The bottom right-hand part of the ballot is where the school committee section is located. And on this particular ballot, there are 3 names on it, with an area down the bottom that has a place for a write-in candidate. And here we can see that we have Bergoli, Hubley, and Domitius, and someone's writing in Emily Lebo and filling in the circle. So
Yeah, the most important part of this whole process is to make sure that oval is filled in. What happens with the ballot, if you look back at the original ballot, when the ballot is scanned through at the polling places, all of the votes are tabulated at that point. They're actually tabulated at that scan-in, and then they're tabulated by the ovals that are filled in on the side. And then what happens if you have a write-in anywhere on that ballot, after it counts the votes, it pushes that ballot to the side so that the write-in candidates can be counted. So the most important thing in this whole process is to make sure that you fill in the oval if you're writing in a candidate for school committee or for any other office.
pretty easy name to write in. I mean, there's not many letters in your name.
No, thank goodness that's not my maiden name was Gallagher. That would have been a lot harder for people. But the good news is it doesn't have to be. It certainly we want to make sure you have it as close to perfect as possible. But it's the intent of the voters that we've been told by the city clerk. If it was E. Lebo on there or Emily Lebo on there, something similar is the intent of the voters. Once the oval is filled in, it's the intent of the voters after that. So that's really what we're hoping to make sure people know. And it is Lebo, very easy to spell. We also have the other option, Mr. Bergoli. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, there is a sticker that you could affix to the section of the ballot where it says write-in candidate. There is no oval on the sticker. That oval still has to be filled in. We actually have one right here. It has to be that big because when you peel it off, you have to be able to affix it in that section where it says write-in candidate. You got that?
It's obviously very difficult to get these into the hands of the voters beforehand. We are going to find a way to get some of them at the polling places, and we'll have some signs up or some way indicating that, but it's much easier at this point to just write in the name, because these have to be manipulated too. What you're seeing here isn't even the sticker. The sticker comes off of this. It's even smaller than you think. So the sticker itself is very tiny. It can only fit in that space, and it has to have the candidate's name and address on it. It had to be typed at with capital letters for the name, and then it has to be squeezed into this little teeny space here, which I'm sure you can't see. But anyway, it's almost easier at this point to write in the name.
Well, you were talking about, Emily, having tables at each of the polling places so that people could come up and grab one of the stickers. If some people have some difficulty writing, I know that as I get older, my writing's gotten bigger and a little bit sloppier. It's just a
It's
product.
true.
It's a product of the age. But so for those people, it is very important that they have the sticker.
Have access to the sticker, and we're going to try to do that. Unfortunately, like the signs, we have to be 150 feet away from the polling
Correct.
places. So at several of the bigger polling places, the people don't necessarily walk by the signs. So they drive in after the signs. I'm thinking up at the Elks. So there'd be no way to get these anywhere close to the people who are voting. So we want people to understand that there are two ways to do this. You can write in the name, or you can use a sticker. And we're going to find ourselves out there at the polling places with stickers one way or another.
With the sticker, there are write-in places for mayor, for councilor at large, and for your own city ward councilor. You cannot put Emily Lebo's sticker on any of those sections. You must put it where it says school committee.
Correct.
Because that's what you're voting for. Emily Lebo is a write-in candidate for school committee. So that has to be affixed again under the school committee, the last next to the last name there, where there's this, an area there that has write-in candidate. You put it there again, and you fill in the oval. Critical to fill in the oval. Otherwise, it'll show up as a blank. You can write the name in. You can affix the sticker. Either way, but if you don't fill in the oval, it does not count. So that's critical. So that's why it's a step-by-step process. Finding the section of the ballot where the school committee is, bottom right-hand corner. Finding the place where the write-in candidate is able to put their name in, or you're able to write Emily Lebo's name in. And if the graphic right here shows, it looks like a female hand, right-handed, by the way, filling in the oval next to Emily Lebo's name. If the person just wrote Emily Lebo and left that oval unmarked, then Emily would not get credit for that vote.
That's true. You wouldn't even, the election people wouldn't even see that vote because it wouldn't knock it over to the side. It wouldn't count it over to the side. So really important to know that your vote, the rest of your votes are going to be counted just like they've always been counted.
Right.
They'll probably know who the mayor is early in the evening like they always have. The only race that might be slowed down a little bit by this will be the school committee race because those ballots, just those ballots, may have to be hand counted. Will have to be hand counted.
That's correct. Those of you who are voting absentee can do the same. You can go up to City Hall and, again, write in at that particular time Emily's name with an absentee ballot at the city clerk's office, or you can have it mailed to you. I know some have already been mailed, and some of you may have already mailed them back in, but you can still do that with an absentee ballot.
Right.
Anything else you wanted to add, Emily?
No, I just want to thank you again for having, well, one of the things I guess I should add is this is pretty historical. No one has really ever won in Quincy, according to the city clerk, by a write-in ballot when there was competition. There was a time, I believe, when someone forgot to turn in their papers, and so they were not on the ballot. So they did have to do a sticker campaign to get on the ballot.
Right.
But from what I've heard from the city clerk's office, no one has ever done this before. So it's not only is it very exciting for me that we're going to get to have our name out there and try to get elected again, but to make history in the city by saying we're going to be able to do this. This is true democracy. I think Mr. Rigoli was right. Talk about a civics class. The election process does whittle people down, but because you're allowed to write in, this is a true, it's a popular vote. It becomes a popular vote. Which is great. So I think it's a great lesson for all of us. And I've learned more about the ballot than I knew. So I want to thank you too for that, Paul.
Well, again, your experience that you're going to bring to this race is exciting. I just want to ask you again, what made you enter the race again?
So late.
So late,
right?
Yep.
You know, I'm
3.5 weeks.
I'm hearing that question everywhere. As I you may have not heard, but there was a viable candidate in Frank Santoro who had put in his papers and had a very similar background to mine. We both are educators, we're both administrators, we both had evaluated teachers and department heads, and we had both served on the school committee previously. So when Frank said early on that he was going to run, I didn't think it was necessary to have two people with the same background competing against each other. When Mr. Santoro pulled his papers at the last minute, there was no time for me to get my papers in. It was already too late to put your name in. So I had been asked by parents, teachers, and elected officials if I would consider getting back on the school committee through this process, so that I could bring my experience and my background to the school committee.
You can vote for 3 people.
Absolutely. In school committee, you can vote for 3 people.
Okay, and that needs to be made clear, because I want to let you know that I'm on the ballot. Kathy Hubley's on the ballot, who is an incumbent, and the newcomer, James Demetius, is also on the ballot. So you're going to see those 3 names there. You won't see Emily's name. That's where you need to be educated as to how to write in her name and how to fill in the oval. And that's the critical piece. If you so choose to have Emily as a part of our school committee once again. Again, she served admirably and did tremendous work on the school committee in the 4 years she served. Started the evening program for high school students, started the robotics program with some help and Lego robotics, and just has a wealth of knowledge. Served on the special education committee, was the chair of that. So again, bringing a tremendous amount of experience to the school committee is certainly something that the parents and the children of the city deserve. Emily, would you like to follow up on that, or would you?
No, I just want to
You're
say
not going to disagree,
that,
are you?
No. What I want to say is that it was a privilege to work with both Mr. Bergoli and Ms. Hubley before, and I would love the opportunity to go back and do it again.
So you're going to vote for me?
Probably.
Okay.
I get 3 votes.
That's not definite, huh? Wow.
I don't know if you're supposed to say that out loud. Of course I'm going to vote for you.
Thank you. I'm voting for you too. And Kathy. So again, here we have the graphic up on the screen. I think it's very important that people look at this and understand where they can put Emily's name and how they fill the oval in. It's pretty simple. Emily's pretty easy to spell, and Lebo, you can't mess that up, I don't think, unless you put Lobo, which is a wolf.
And that would count.
That would count.
That would count, so.
Yeah. And it's the intent of the voter.
It's the intent of the voter, which is great to know,
Right.
really great to know.
Now, you're going to see these ballots throughout the city. The city clerk's office puts sample ballots in windows. So you can actually see a sample ballot somewhere before you actually go into the voting booth. There's a sample ballot. It happens to be an absentee ballot, but it is for Tuesday, November 3rd, coming up in a couple of weeks. And there it is right there. I mean, if you educate yourself and want to vote for Emily as a write-in candidate to put her back on the school committee, where she was for 4 years, then this is how you do it. It's right here. Pretty simple. Write her name in, fill in the oval. But it has to be in the school committee section of the ballot. Can't put it under the mayor's, can't put it under the counselor at large, can't put it under the ward counselor. It has to be bottom right corner, school committee.
That's
Can't
it.
say any simpler than that.
No, but there have been a lot of questions about how to do it. And so I think this was an important piece for us to present, because people have been asking me and the people who are working for my committee how you do this. So it's great. It's great. We've all learned something.
I mean, I'll go back again. You can write her address in. if you know it. But very few people are going to know your address
Right.
off the top of their head, that it's 354 Howland Ave. But Emily Lebo is sufficient to cast a vote for Emily, as long as you fill in that oval. That is the critical piece. Fill in the oval.
For all your candidates.
Correct.
That's the most important thing you can do,
Correct.
is fill in the oval.
You can't vote for 4 here.
No.
If you vote for 4 in the school committee, it invalidates the whole ballot.
It will kick back at
For
you.
school committee.
Yeah.
You can only vote for 3. So you can vote for 2 people who are already on the ballot, and then write in Emily Lebo as your 3rd choice. Not your 3rd choice, but as your
One of
3rd
your 3
vote.
choices.
One of your 3 choices. Thank you for clarifying that. Again, if you vote for 4 on school committee, it invalidates that section of the ballot. So it's really important that you understand that you can vote for 3, 2 up top, and then write in Emily Lebo on the bottom, and fill in the oval. As a former teacher, I can't be any more clearer than that. So all you people who are at Atherton House School and Massachusetts Field School, I know that you get it. So,
I think everybody gets it now. Once people see it, they grasp it very quickly. It is a simple process. The city clerk has made it as simple as it possibly can be, because he really thinks the most important thing is the intent of the voters. What do the voters want to say here? And so he has made it really easy, and it is simple, but it's nice to see what it looks like before you go into the booth.
well, I'm not sure we can say it any more clearly. So we're going to end our little civics class, and hopefully you've gotten the message as to how to do this. And the most important thing for everybody is to get out to vote on November 3rd.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's something that's a privilege that many veterans have laid down their lives for. So it really bothers me when I see kids who don't think it's important, or older people who have gotten fed up with the system. Just understand that this is a privilege, and everybody should go out and participate. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes of your day.
It's also a responsibility, Paul.
Right.
A privilege and a responsibility.
But you need to be educated as to whom is on the ballot and what they can bring to the city. And in this case, who's on the ballot and what they can bring to the school committee. Experience is important, and Emily has it. So, again, Emily, it was a pleasure to have you. Thanks for helping out with the civics class. Brings you right back, doesn't it?
It does, it does. Thank you, Paul.
All right.
It was great.
Great to see everybody, and thank you for paying attention and